He shot me, god damn it! Officer shot. (13D04), I am shot, but I'm up and moving. God.
All right, Houston, Texas, our officers have been called to a man with a gun, waving a gun around in this kind of really dark, unincorporated area. And you are going to hear them get out and accost this guy. It's going to get crazy in a hurry. Let's listen in and hear multiple badge cams and the dash cam.
Put your hands in the air! Fuck, he got me, god damn it! (13D04), I am shot, but I'm up. Shots fired, shots fired! Roll your nest, up the cam! Clear. Alright, put the tourniquet on me. That's fair. You just get the 1304 now. Get behind the car. Get behind the car. Yeah, we need an ambulance. We got to flush her down. I'm bleeding like a son of a bitch. Put your hands in the air! Oh, fuck! Fuck, he shot me. God damn it! Officer shot. (13D04), I am shot, but I'm up and moving. God. Shots fired, shots fired, shots fired, shots fired. Roll your mess. Hey! Tourniquet, tourniquet, tourniquet. 13D04. Alright, putting the tourniquet on me. God damn it! Go get him! Get behind my car, get behind the car. I'm bleeding like a son of a bitch. God damn. Tourniquet my ass. Here. All right, here. Tie that shit up on me. Yeah. Go high. Yeah. Put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air. Fuck, he got me. God damn. Shots fired, shots fired, shots fired, shots fired. Roll your mess, suspect down. Hey, I got a tourniquet. Alright, putting the tourniquet on me. That's clear. You need to get the 1304 now. Get behind my car. Get behind the car. Yeah, we need an ambulance. We got officer down. I'm bleeding like the son of a bitch. That's clear. That's clear. Tourniquet, man. Here. All right, here. Tie that shit up on me. Yeah. Go high. Yep.
Our miscreant actually lived through this one. They got him into custody, and he is, of course, facing a cornuplethora of charges. Our officer was actually treated and released, and so he didn't, according to the news stories, even spend much time in the hospital, which leads me to believe it was maybe a through and through, though he was shot by the perp. And I'm going to tell you, man, we got a bunch of good lessons out of this one and a couple of Special Pants Brigade patches to award. MagTech is the only Freedom seed I use on the range. I personally have over 100,000 rounds downrange of MagTech, and it's unbelievably reliable, very accurate, and a great value. Pick some up for your next range trip wherever you shop for range supplies. Obviously, dangerous situation here, Mike, and I love that these officers pull up, get a spotlight on this guy, and keep some distance, which, gives them some hope, because again, they're probably better with a gun than this guy, though, of course, luck counts both ways.
The temptation always, John, in law enforcement is to get in close and handle things, run to where the problem is, get in there and grab and scoop him up and, throw him in the back of the car. And there's times where the best thing to do is keep your distance. Remember, we always say that we don't want to compress time or distance unnecessarily when there is a threat, especially an armed threat like they believe there to be in this case. Therefore, this little bit of distance, I think, might have saved these officers' lives, because obviously this guy was willing and determined and perfectly willing to shoot it out. Therefore, this distance may have been the factor that saved their lives.
Listen, officers, that's great advice for you right there. That, you're taught to close distance a lot, but sometimes just leaving that distance gives you the advantage. And again, luck does count, right? The bad guy got a lucky hit on the leg of an officer at some significant distances. That can happen. And I will say here, I just want to commend our sergeant here, who is the officer who was shot. And he is still up, still in the fight. And now we got to deal with the follow-up. Now, I know you're going to say, wait, they should have taken that guy into custody. Hey, if you know he's down and he's not messing with you anymore, again, once the fight is over, you go to town. And I want to camp here for just a minute. Our sergeant here gets his gun out. He is immediately hit. Okay, now what am I going to do? And yes, okay, am I going to give him a little bit of a hard time on the sling? Yeah, use the sling. Throw the sling over your neck so then that way it's not dangling and giving you problems. But far more than that, he is hit. And I know plenty of people who would say, I'm hit, I'm down, I'm out of the fight. Not this guy. This is like Special Pants Brigade, like Uber patch right here, because, hey, I'm hit, but I'm still up, I'm still mobile, and I'm still in the fight. That kind of emotional fitness is literally, I want 10,000 cops like this all over the nation, Mike.
I can hear one of my academy instructors saying, aggression is your friend sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. Aggression is your friend. What does that mean? That means sometimes you don't have time to sit there and lick your wounds. Yeah, I'm shot. That sucks. However, I've got to go in and deal with this threat. I got to deal with it now. And I absolutely love this. There's two things I want to point out. One, Special Pants Brigade. Two, we need like a Cool Hand Luke Award to go along with Special Pants Brigade of guys who just absolutely are 100%. There it was. Unflappable. You cannot flap these guys, as it were. We had the officer who had an active shooter, or a guy who was shooting up a neighborhood, who gets out of his car, sets his coffee down, gets his rifle ready, and takes one shot and takes the guy out. There was the Pima County deputy who was shot in the leg and coolly and calmly gave information to backup deputies, to dispatch, vector the other deputy where the bad guy was. This is so important. Calm is a superpower, and he had it in spades.
He absolutely had it. Just utterly commendable here in every respect. And again, from that emotional perspective, yes, I'm hit, but I'm still mobile. I'm still in a fight for my life, and I am going to pursue this fight. I also want to say, again, just a little small thing here. I love the fact that he went and got his rifle. He realized, I have an armed suspect here. And I got to tell you, in my world, if I know I'm going to have a gunfight, or I have a high probability of a gunfight, I want a long gun, and all my friends who have long guns to come along for that fight. And so he went and got his carbine. He got his patrol rifle. And I think that's absolutely commendable. But officers, remember, you've got to maintain proficiency with your rifle in order to use it in a fight and use it well, which takes a little bit of work, just like your pistol does. So he did that here. I'm not a big fan of holding on to the magazine there. That's a little old school, but whatever. These are little tiny nitpicks on a guy who gets an A+++ on his gunfight. Now the gunfight, he decides, okay, suspect's down. I need to now start dealing with my injury. And so gonna hobble myself back to my patrol cruiser so that I can put my rifle down. If only we had a way to just put that rifle somewhere and not worry about putting it down on the hood of the car, like, I don't know, maybe sling it. But then the bigger thing here is that his tourniquet is not staged for use. He had to spend a good bit of time, maybe 15 seconds, kind of unfolding and unwrapping and unvelcroing his tourniquet. There are plenty of videos on the internet about how to properly stage a tourniquet so that it is ready, that it unfolds very quickly in a matter of a second or so in order to be used. And just thinking through these things in advance so that it's an administrative task. Get it done so that when you need it, you just pull it out and it's ready to go. It didn't end up affecting the outcome here, Mike, but it could have. And so staging it correctly is the right thing to do.
If your agency has not provided you with some in-depth, detailed CPR, first aid, and stop the bleed training, demand that they do. They absolutely should. Listen, the most important IFAC, that's individual first aid kit, the most important tourniquet in the field as a law enforcement officer is yours. Because if you can't stop your own bleeding, it can't help anybody else. So if you're shot, that tourniquet on your person, that is for you. first and foremost. So you want to make sure it's staged properly. If you don't know how to stage it properly, I'm sure John can maybe link a video from the Extra Channel or some resource to show you how to do that, because it's really, really critical that it's not just, pull it out of the wrapper, slap it on my uniform, on my tactical vest, and call it good. You need training, and it has to be staged. Otherwise, you may not be able to get that on. When you're bleeding out from a femoral wound, you have seconds, and I mean seconds, less than 30 seconds sometimes, to get that bleeding stopped, so every second counts.
It does count, and he's using an approved tourniquet. That looks like a combat application tourniquet, a CAT, and that's completely appropriate. And a good Committee of Tactical Combat Casualty Care approved tourniquet can save lives. And officers who are wearing vests, they very often are going to get shot where it actually hurts them in an appendage, right? An arm or a leg. And so a tourniquet can be a very useful thing. Hey, us private citizens, I keep a tourniquet in my stuff as well. Thank God I've never had to use one. I know several private citizens who have, in car wrecks, motorcycle wrecks, even in gunfights. So having that staged correctly, a positive thing for all of us, only takes a few minutes to learn, and then do correctly, and then put it in your kit appropriately, because otherwise you see him here again, he's spending time trying to figure out, man, I got to undo this thing, I got to get this over here, I got to get out and around, and then figure out how to get it on my person. And thankfully his buddy shows up in order to help him do that, but you can see he's kind of trying to figure it out as well. Get that medical training. So just having the equipment without the knowledge how to use it and having done it a bunch, not my favorite. Now, I do want to say here that as when we see Sergeant Birch, he starts with his pistol. No problems there. The other guy's going to get his rifle out originally. Now he runs back, grabs his rifle, and now he's going to come over. And I actually kind of like this, that he decides, you know what, once I have my rifle, he's going to use his door of his patrol cruiser to stabilize the gun. Man, I love that. If it's available to you and it doesn't take you long to get to, that'll make you much more accurate at the kind of distances that we're at here, which I'm going to estimate are probably about 40 yards or so, maybe 30 yards, which not a tough shot with a carbine, not a tough shot with a patrol rifle, but ain't easy when you're under fire. And so having a little bit more stability, you can settle that dot and send rounds his way. And remember, officers, you got to be proficient with your patrol rifle. You've got to spend the time to be good with it, because having a tool, once again, without the skills, no good. And these guys had the skills, and that's important. Yeah,
training's critical. And remember, your quarterly or biannual qualification course to show your proficiency is not sufficient. You need more training than that. If your agency is not giving you more training than that, then you need to seek that out on your own. Yes, it costs money, but it could save your life. One more thing. If you're a private citizen, let's say you've never picked up a gun in your life and you're not sure what John means, try this when you get a second. Go outside, pull out your cell phone, and get the magnification, the zoom lens as far as it'll go, 10x, 12x, 20x, whatever it is, and then just hold it up in front of you and try to hold it steady. And then rest it on something and hold it steady. You'll see the difference is really marked, meaning that picture will calm down a lot based on the fact that you're resting your hand on something to keep it steady. If you've been to a long gun range, you see people with a rest, where they're resting their gun on something. It just makes it 1,000 times easier to keep it where you want it, keep the round where you want it to go, keep your optics steady. That's a little fun thing you can do on your own, a little extra credit for you.
Oh, I love that. A little object lesson for us all. And you don't have to be, even holding a gun in order to do that. That's pretty wonderful. This is where I think he got hits. And therefore, again, does a great job staying calm, even though he knows his partner is hit. Stays calm, stay in the fight the fight first. I will say, stay off the radios, right? You're in the middle of a fight. You got two cops with rifles here. Get the fight fought. Then get a call in, right? Oh, okay, the ambulance isn't going to show up fast enough to save his life unless you save his life first. So get that done. Yes, use your sling. That's, again, this other little bit. Now he's going to hustle back and want to help his partner. Absolutely believe in that. I think, wait a minute, shouldn't we, cover the suspect, do all that? Man, most important thing is save a life here after he's down and out of the fight. All right, fine. And I know some people are going to kind of question this here and go, wait a minute, did this really need a tourniquet? I think maybe the answer here is no, but in the moment you don't really know, because again, his pants are hiding a whole lot. So the safe thing to do here, it's really old school that a tourniquet will cause you to lose a limb. Nope, any modern, approved tourniquet will not cause a limb to fall off. You can leave it on there for an hour, 2 hours, and it's probably not a problem. So the default is high and tight, because if his entire femoral artery is severed, it can shrink up inside up to like 4 or 5 inches. And so getting it as high as you can up into that kind of inguinal crease And man, when you put that sucker on, he should be complaining to you about how much it hurts before you start turning the windlass. It should be super tight, and then the windlass is tightened even more. He should be complaining about this. And again, that is just preventative to say, wait a minute, I'm not sure if it needs a tourniquet, but this guy's been shot and is bleeding pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and put it on. That's the safe thing to do here.
Yeah, listen to what John said very carefully. If the person is not basically in agony from how tight the tourniquet is, you might be doing it wrong. It's really hard to overdo it as far as getting a tourniquet on properly. I will say I met a man who gave us our Stop the Bleed training in San Diego for my old agency. He was an Army officer who got blowed up big time in Iraq in an up armored Humvee, such as it were. And he got messed up. All his limbs were rearranged and he was bleeding out. And he said they had disarmed him prior to putting on his tourniquet because they knew the medic there knew how much it's going to hurt. And he said, I might have knocked the guys out completely, punched him right in the face. That's how bad it hurts. So it should hurt. And remember, with a modern tourniquet, as John said, I want to reiterate, it's not piano wire. You're not going to sever the limb. You're not going to, you're not going to make it so the leg falls off or the arm falls off later. It can be there for several hours and not do permanent damage to the limb. So bear that in mind.
There's your quick course. Make sure you go take a class, okay? I'm not saying this was medical training. I'm saying these are reminders to people who are trained on the right thing to do, and get that sucker on there. He did that. They did it well. This officer ended up getting the help he needed. Now, final thing, I know some people are going to talk about, well, wait a minute, it's a mess that this guy lived. If he had died, it would have been better for society. And I want to be cautious that we maintain our humanity. What we wanted was his behavior to change. We wanted him to stop shooting at officers and threatening the public. They did that. They achieved the ends that they wanted to achieve by getting this guy into custody. Now he has an opportunity to, even if he's in Crooks University for a long time, and he will be for quite some time, he shot a cop. That's aggravated assault on a police officer. They might even try to get him for attempted murder. But it gives him an opportunity to maybe rethink his life choices, maybe even turn himself around, do some positive good, even in prison. I've actually met people who have. And remember, when we have to shoot somebody that's a deadly threat to us, it's not about them dying or not. If he dies, he dies, right? I need him to stop right now, and so I'm going to shoot him, which has a high likelihood of causing death or great bodily injury. But as long as he stops, as long as his behavior changes, he stops shooting at me, tosses the gun, gives up, that's a win for me. I will take the win. And I commend these officers for getting this guy into custody and getting him the help that he needs. And that's the kind of moral standard that I think we need to keep as a society, Mike.
Yeah, agreed. Listen, people sometimes criticize us. We don't talk about Jesus enough on the main channel. I saw John sent me a comment recently about that. Here's our Jesus talk for the day. I'm going to meet Jesus one day. And when I do, I'm going to have to answer for every single thing I did. And he's going to want some explanations. And if I have the hate in my heart that I want someone to die because of something they did, that's going to be a problem. Jesus is not going to like that very much. So hear John, hear his heart when he says, when you are in a defensive shooting, you are shooting to do one thing, to stop the bad guy or gal from doing what they're doing, to keep them from killing you. And that's it. Whether the person, as John said, if he dies, he dies. Look, if that's true, that's up to God and the medical system, not you. I think at the end of the day, these cops showed immense bravery, immense calm under fire. But we did a Cool Hand Luke Award, by the way, to go along with that Special Pants Brigade. And they really did everything they could to cover their ass.